Basically, T.I.E stands for Together Individual Entertainment. That's the name of my Facebook page. T.I.E is still on Anchor.fm and it's on YouTube. If you like my video, subscribe. And I would be most enjoyable about my poetry readings every weekend. So I'm hoping to get started as soon as I can. But before I do, I want to let you guys know something. Starting today to the end of April, I am doing the end of the Autism Month celebration, which means I am celebrating people that we grown up with or still growing up with who had or has autism. And I'm doing the poetry reading in honor of Emily Dickinson. So let's get started. So the poem that I wrote is called The Music That I Hear. The music that I hear, some music is special, even when you can't tell. The music that I hear, it is big when you can't even hear a bell. Music is filled with harmony. There's always a special melody. The music that I hear, music is something that I care. The sound of music is my peace. No music is ever least. The music that I hear. So, the reason I wrote that poem was because music has always been my life. And it's been all of our life. And during the coronavirus, we basically heard people like either do karaoke, play DJ, or whatever on their porch or walkway or whatever it is. And we want to enjoy that music. In fact, one person that is part of the music history that had autism was Mozart. Yeah, Mozart. Mozart had autism, and he was a great pianist. And in some way, I can relate, because I have autism. Yeah, I have autism. And you know what? I am not ashamed. I'm not shy. I'm not afraid to say it. I'm proud. And I accept for who I am. And you guys should too. So, I want you to try and get your children involved with music. I also want your children to be involved with poetry. Emily Dickinson had autism, and she basically wrote the great poems of a lifetime that we will never forget. In fact, there's a movie about her called Emily. I advise you, or try to get a chance to watch her movie as much as you can. Nobody is different, and nobody is, off from anybody else. It's best to accept than not to accept. Sure, we're different in our own unique way, but we're still people. We're still humans. In fact, there's one thing that I encourage you guys to try and sign up for or register for. This event will happen on September 20th due to the coronavirus. It was supposed to be on June 14th, but it got postponed to September 20th, like I said, because of the coronavirus. It is called the Autism Speaks Walk. It will be at Shinley Park, which is next to Fisk Conservatory in Oakland, PA. It's actually Pittsburgh, PA, but still, Oakland is a different area than it looks. In fact, you might say that being autistic is not a disability. It's just an accessibility of difference. I really enjoy doing my poetry reading in honor of her. In fact, you might say that being autistic is sometimes a hard thing, yes. But you want to try and find that common ground with someone who does have autism or, used to have autism. Like I said, Emily Dickinson and Mozart, they may not exist in our world anymore, but their spirit still lives on in poems and music. I encourage you to try and learn about autism. In fact, during this whole entire event that I have just created, I will be talking about more people who had or have autism. There's one person in particular that I encourage you to at least do a movie marathon. If you are an adult with autism or if you have a teenager with autism, I encourage you to try and watch a movie from Tim Burton. Tim Burton has autism, yes. I checked him out and he most certainly does have autism. He's a very encourageable man, I'll tell you that. And even though his movies may not make sense or may be different, he still showed his greatest creativity. In fact, I encourage you to try and at least create a movie marathon of his movies. Tim Burton has done so many movies, especially one of our Pittsburgh icons, Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton played Batman twice in Batman 1989 and Batman Returns, co-starring with Dan DeVito. Tim Burton also got Michael Keaton to become Beetlejuice. And Michael Keaton co-starred with Dan DeVito once again in live-action Dumbo, which was also created by Tim Burton. Tim Burton has created many movies. And there are two movies with a combination of two people who, well, one did have autism, but she doesn't exist in this world anymore, but we still remember her story. And Tim Burton, who is still alive with us and has autism. The two movies I'm talking about is Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. Lewis Carroll is the author of those two books, Through the Looking Glass and Alice in Wonderland. I implore you to either find Alice in Wonderland book or just watch a Tim Burton film or watch an entire different version of Alice in Wonderland. In fact, it's not just Alice in Wonderland or Through the Looking Glass that, you should read to your children. There are many other fairy tales that you should read to your children who was also created by another autistic person. Hans Christian Andersen. Hans Christian Andersen created the stories of our very own fairy tale princess, or should I say Disney princess, The Little Mermaid. Yeah, he's the creator of The Little Mermaid. He even created the fairy tale Thumbelina and the Snow Queen. He even created the little short story The Ugly Duckling and the Steadfast Tin Soldier. I know that in some way you also feel a little creativity when you're indoors. And you should be. Because one other person that I knew, or I should say studied, because he doesn't exist in this world, and yet his artwork is legendary. This artist is named after a Ninja Turtle. And his name is Michelangelo. Yes, Michelangelo had autism. So I'm kind of happy that I studied all these people, and I'm happy to announce that this whole celebration will be about them. I want you to encourage yourself to find different versions of the stories, whether it's the same version of Alice in Wonderland, Through the Looking Glass, Little Mermaid, or whatever, to the new version. Either way, their stories will never be forgotten. Lewis Carroll and Hans Christian Andersen. I also implore you to please be creative in honor of Mr. Michelangelo. I think that either way, you have a lot to give. And try and bring them into music. Give them a dance party. Let them sing. Any kind of music will be a great honor of Michelangelo. And maybe even get the children to write or enjoy reading. Whether it's writing or reading poetry, and the same with stories, you should always know that Emily Dickinson and the authors would have been proud to know that we have tried our best to include this whole entire lifestyle of understanding. But I will tell you this. For those of you that do give support for autism, come down to Shinley Park on September 20th, 2020 at Shinley Park in Oakland, which is next to Fisk Conservatory, for the Autism Speaks Walk. But before you do, you still have time to register. That's right. You have to register for the Autism Speaks Walk. You don't have to pay for register, and you give a donation if you wish. But I know that deep down inside, you do accept. We are all humans. We may not be, we are all different in our most unique way. We can't be perfect. Nobody is perfect. But we still want to accept. Our life gives us hope. It gives us joy. It gives us light. And for those of you that do have autism, or if you have a teenager or a child that has autism, I implore you to accept yourself. Accept your child. I implore you to show support. Be strong for them. Be strong for yourself. Be proud of who they are and be proud for who you are. I mean, it may not be easy with autism. Trust me, I know. Because one of my difficulties is talking. I try to speak clearly, but it's hard. Many years ago, I used to have a speech therapist in middle school, but then I moved. My new school didn't have a speech therapist, and I had to go through a difficult time to when I had to go through a major surgery, jaw surgery. They had to take the top jaw and pull it forward. Now I have 2 titanium plates on each side of my jaw, and that's not easy. I had to re-talk, re-eat. I was devastated, knowing that I couldn't do the things that I thought I could at first, because I was in the healing process. But sometimes you have to fight. That's what I did. I fought my way through, and I got a chance to play my flute at graduation, since I could not play it at my senior recognition concert many years ago when I was a senior. And I had to disobey my doctor to sing because that was one of my things. There was no making up for my senior recognition concert, and I had to do it. I was a fighter and not losing. I was winning my battle. But I know that you're questioning about the sensory sensitive. This whole entire April was supposed to be our sensory sensitive month, which was Autism Month. But because of the coronavirus, things had to get canceled and things had to shut down. But I'm here to tell you that places will still have sensory sensitive. Whether it's on a certain day or certain hours, it will still exist. In fact, Kennywood is now an official sensory sensitive area for autism. All you have to make sure is tell them that you have a child or, whatever for autism, and they'll give you a backpack full of sensory sensitive stuff, like gloves for feeling sensitive, vision sensitive, magnifying glass, hearing sensitive, earplugs or silence headphones, aka soundproof headphones, fidget balls, fidget spinners, sunglasses for light sensitive. There are many sensory sensitives. But we can all agree that we need to enjoy people around us, even those with autism. Learn to accept. In fact, at Kennywood they put in a silence tent, which means if you would like a quiet place to go to, the Quiet Tent is the best place to go to. And Science Center does the same thing. I mean, they were supposed to have 3 sensitive sensory things going on this month, but they had to get canceled because of the coronavirus. But now, I'm here to implore you to try and do some things with your family. I implore you to try and get a common ground. So like I said, if you want a common ground, get inspired with these people. Tim Burton, Michelangelo, Emily Dickinson, the poet, the authors of Alice in Wonderland, Through the Looking Glass, Ugly Duckling, Snow Queen, Steadfast Tin Soldier, Thumbelina and the One and Only Little Mermaid, Lewis Carroll, and Hans Christian Andersen. They're 2 separate authors, but yet they created those stories. Mozart for music, and so many others that you might want to look at. Because in a way, they inspire me, and they should inspire you too. It was thanks to them that I don't feel ashamed anymore. I used to feel that way until I looked them up. It's thanks to them that I am proud of being autistic. And I give my 100% support for anyone who has autism. And that's what I implore you to do. Show your 100% support for anyone who has autism, especially your own kids or yourself who has autism. Trust me. One day you will know and understand. So please, look them up. Have a movie marathon in honor of Tim Burton's movies. Read the books of Lewis Carroll or Hans Christian Andersen, or just watch a cartoon version of them. It doesn't really matter. Get creative. Draw. Draw, sculpt with clay, like Michelangelo. Enjoy music, any kind of music. Singing, karaoke, play piano, play an instrument. Be musical like Mozart. Write stories and write poems, just like the authors Lewis Carroll and Hans Christian Andersen and the poet Emily Dickinson. I know all of them would have been proud that we learned to accept. For who knows? Maybe, just maybe, there'll be a very near future for all people accepting people, children, all ages with autism. Well, that's all I got for you today. But this has been the most heartfelt moment of my entire life, and I'm glad I got to share it with you. I really cannot wait for tomorrow to read more of my poem and next weekend. But for now, enjoy what still lasts, and enjoy making memories, for they won't be there forever. Oh, and that reminds me. Seniors, I will be talking to you on Monday. After work, that is, or whatever. But believe me, I will let you know that I've got some ideas for you on May and June, so don't even think about missing out. This is Ty saying, can't wait to see you get back out there. Bye.